Good morning and welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View this morning. Absolutely brilliant day yesterday. Obviously getting Kieran Tierney back into Celtic Football Club, and that was good, and we knew that was coming. Celtic milked it for as much as they could. And other news this morning, we'll talk about Kieran Tierney in a minute. Celtic are hoping to beat off competition from a number of clubs for highly rated youngster Sondre whatever. He's a 21-year-old left-sided winger. Now, this is interesting when you think about the two players that we're about to talk about. One of them is a left-sided winger, one is also a left-sided winger, but one can also play on the right and through the middle as a striker. But the 21-year-old target Sondre from Norway, who's currently been linked with Fiorentina, Nice and Red Bull Salzburg, is in demand this year. Celtic have upped the game and entered into discussions with trying to get the player again. It is believed they're hoping to try and beat off competitions. So it's good that we're trying to get him in. He is rated at roughly about the fee, about £7 million. Brendan Rodgers did have a bid rejected for the player in January for £4.6 million. 4.6 million in January. It's understood that the Norwegian side are looking for a fee of 7 million to allow him to go. He did just sign a new deal with his club back in October. So, with that being said, next up, yet even more transfer talk today. Celtic have entered into personal terms talks with Michel-Ange Balikwisha from Royal Antwerp. The winger has been on the Celtic radar for over a year now. Looks like they may have given up on the player, but they have begun new discussions regarding personal terms. That was released at around about midnight last night, this one. So, with that being said, it's all go. Now, the good thing about Michel-Ange is that he can play on the left, he can play on the right, and he can also play as a second striker. He's a bit like Dyson Maeda. Is he the replacement for Dyson Maeda? I'm going to put it out there and we're going to say it. I think that he could potentially be the replacement for Dyson Maeda. Not that we're looking to replace him, but if a bid comes in for Dyson Maeda this summer, and I think Celtic will struggle to keep a hold of the player when someone dangles 25 plus million in front of Celtic's eyes, especially if you can get this guy for 5.5 million. His valuation has dropped from a high of 11 million euros back in December 2023. It's now saying on Transfer Market that he's rated at 5.5 million euros. Interesting, which is about £4.75 million. So with that, and also yesterday, Kieran Tierney rejoined the Scottish champions on a free transfer following his departure from Arsenal. Scotland International signed a pre-contract agreement some time ago, but he signed the actual contract that keeps him at Celtic until 2030. The 20-year-old left-back came through the academy at Celtic, we all know. He made over 170 appearances. He made 144 appearances for Arsenal, scoring 6 goals and 14 assists. He enjoyed a loan spell with Real Sociedad. And personally, I thought that he would have went back to Spain. He says he enjoyed his time in Spain and he enjoyed learning the lingo and eating lots of different food. Tierney has donned his beloved number 63 jersey back at Celtic, the same number he wore before leaving for Arsenal back in 2019. So it looks like Celtic are pushing the boat out and trying to get players in before they're back to pre-season, and not just squad players. This will be players that will push for first team positions, and ultimately if we get these two wingers, it It is making the squad stronger, but I still do expect the bids to come in for Dyson. Another bid to come in for Dyson Myra. We have rejected a bid already for Dyson. We have rejected a bid for Dyson already, 8.75 million. That is not good enough. Celtic have suggested that a bid in the region of 20 million plus is what it's going to take the player away. I'll wait till they're in Celtic Park with a scarf above their head before I get excited, says Port Job Express. The fact that we're talking about the fact that Celtic is confirmed, it is confirmed that Celtic are in negotiations for the player. So that's good. It's all good news. In fact, if we just get this image up, and we'll see the source, because it's not a Scottish media. That's a browser. It's not a Scottish media source, so that's the good thing. I cancel that. Get rid of that. Jesus, what's going on? Here's image. So there is the source. It came out on Twitter late last night, and this guy has broke some news before about when Celtic were in talks with him before. It says Celtic FC are back in the raid for Michel-Ange, and interested in the Royal Antwerp FC winger. Since last summer, the Scottish club's management has connected with the Balikwisha camp and begun new discussions regarding personal terms. More news coming. So it's not a Scottish media one, so it has a bit more meat to the bone when it is not Scottish media related. Let's face it. Anyway, it's all good that we have started getting moving in the transfer market. Some younger players coming into the B team. One striker coming in. Will he be the replacement for Johnny Kenny? Will he be back? He'll be in for Johnny Kenny, and will Celtic put Johnny Kenny out on loan? And I'm going to say a big shout out to Danny Cassie. There's always people on this channel. There's lots of people. There's lots of you guys on the channel that are that go beyond what is required for this channel. And I've got to say that Danny Cassie, I'm going to give a big shout out to Danny Cassie, because he is a guy that he does stuff in the background for the channel that goes unnoticed. But it doesn't go unnoticed by me, Danny. So, thank you for everything. Seriously, mate. Thank you. Jimmy Clark says, Baz, we definitely need a stronger pool of players. When you think of last year's pool, wasn't good enough. Getting beat off them was shocking. Exactly. We need another striker and a centre back, says John. Yeah, I think so as well. Michelle says, Greek paper online. Yes, site yesterday. Celtic has frozen the progress with Panathinaikos deal. Celtic have to sit down with Greg again. They can only freeze it. They can only freeze talks until the end of the month. If Celtic are going down that road, that's bad news. Unless Celtic are going to try to make a late offer to Greg Taylor for him to stay at Celtic. I mean, if it's just finances, or Michelle, what it says to me, if that is true, what that says to me is that Celtic are struggling to get in a capable left back for cover for Kieran Tierney, and maybe Celtic got a little bit of a shock when Kieran Tierney pulled out of international football. Because let's face it, Kieran Tierney, giving him a 5-year contract says a lot for Brendan Rodgers and Celtic. He's obviously going to be the Celtic captain in the future, but he's never played a full season for a long time, and Brendan Rodgers will need to manage him back into full fitness. And listen, I'm going to say, when a certain player that had dreadlocks at Celtic broke his leg, he came back absolutely a way better player. Panathinaikos are offering him 20 grand a week. Would we pay him 15? I thought he was after 25 from Celtic. Lanky says, I'll say it again, time to give young Matthew a chance. Yeah, I think so. But when you look at it, Celtic will be thinking about the Champions League. If this is Brendan Rodgers' last season at Celtic, he wants to have a real good go at the Champions League. And he'll want to keep enough of the Greg Taylor nonsense. Paul Ware's now fuming this morning. Keep Greg Taylor, KT can play left centre back, gives Greg Taylor more game time. I wouldn't play Tierney as left centre back. You take away everything that's good from him. Maybe in 2 or 3 years' time when he slows down a bit, but you take everything that's good away from Tierney. His crossing ability into the box, his chances on goal. You put him at left back, and that's just nonsense. You're just ruining the player. You know, that's like Matt O'Reilly being unhappy in the position that he's in down in Brighton due to the fact that he's getting played out of position. And he's moaning in the national press saying, no, I'm not liking it. Michelle says, I thought that as well, but it's 25 grand, not sure how legit it may be. We'll wait and see. I think that he'll sign the deal. I don't think he'll stay at Celtic because he doesn't want to play second fiddle. Let's face it, that's what it comes down to. It comes down to he doesn't want... He's had to play... Think about what Greg's mindset would be. He's had to play second fiddle to Kieran Tierney all his life in a Scotland shirt. He's never got a game for Scotland because of Kieran Tierney. He's not going to then hang about at Celtic to not play football and be second fiddle to Kieran Tierney. Especially at 27-year-olds, you're at your prime. You're at your prime as a player. Then you're heading into you're seen as your prime as a player. So he'll want to go and perform, and it is his last big payday. And you never know, you might like it in Greece, might like it there. You never know. Fans think KT will play every game. I can see Kieran Tierney playing around 25 games. We'll need cover. He can't play on plastic pitches. In the case they get injured, just like Kieran Tierney and CCV. No, Richard. Taylor would not be better in midfield. He's not good enough for midfield. In the Celtic midfield, he's never no chance. That would be going backwards. KT might benefit from playing left centre back instead of bombing up and down the wing, says Port Job Express. Kieran Tierney will be at Celtic. He'll be one of the best crossers of the ball, and he'll get more assists. I'm going to say it just now. I think Kieran Tierney will get more assists than what Matt O'Reilly did the season that he left Celtic. I think Kieran Tierney will set up more goals than anybody in the coming season. That's my prediction for next season. Kieran Tierney will have the most assists at the club, and that's why Brendan Rodgers brought him back. Brendan Rodgers knows that he can cross a ball. When you look at the crosses that some of the wingers have put in, Kuhn, not the best of the crossers sometimes. He gets to the edge of the box, he tries too many times. He has had some fantastic crosses, but consistently he's not good. Yang, we got lucky with Yang for a 3-week period when his missus was over from South Korea, and he was, as Brendan says, and he was on fire. Keep his missus here, and he might become that player. But bringing Kieran Tierney back, I mean, you could even say that Greg Taylor's crossing ability from getting up past the wingers was good, but it's nowhere near Kieran Tierney stuff. Do you know what I mean? He loves doing that. He loves getting crosses. He loves beating players and getting crosses into the box. Pulling on Brendan Rodgers is no way thinking of putting Kieran Tierney at centre left back. What and Atati is, says Richard. Scales, Anderson, Trusty all play centre back. Trusty's best season was left back for Birmingham. Yeah, was that. I don't think that Scales at left back's the answer. Brendan Rodgers will know that. Trusty at left back. I would rather go with young Matthew Anderson if you're going to go with anybody. Lanky reckons that KT will get 20 assists, especially with his crossing for Adam Ida. Yeah, I think so. He'll get at least 20 assists, I think. KT loves defending, that's his job. Yeah, but it's defending. It's that good old song, turning defence into attack. Name the song. Name the player that was made for. Where it has the lyrics of it, turning defence into attack. There's a one for you for the questions this morning. Opinion at Glaswegian sell Trusty. So come on, see who gets that one first. Turning defence into attack. It's the lyrics from a Celtic player song from a bygone era. A bygone era. Who is the player with the lyrics turning defence into attack? Taylor adapted to the inverted role superbly under Ange Postecoglou, remember. Jackie Mack, there we go. Won the tick, Mick, got it first, then Lanky, Jackie McNamara, that's true. Fair play, lads. You know your Celtic songs. Taylor adapted to the inverted role superbly, but always struggled on the outside, even under Lenny. KT resolves that issue and can adapt into the inverting. I don't think so. I don't think that this nonsense that Brendan Rodgers says, I like my teams to have the inverted. Well, no, you didn't. You didn't have it the last time that you were at Celtic, the first time you were at Celtic. You know, it was an Ange Postecoglou thing that you're taking the plaudits for. On a daft note, do you think that Scott Bain brought the old dugout as a memory? Stephen, you win the internet today, mate. You win the internet. Oh, Jesus. Oh, man. Oh, that was brilliant. Michelle says to Stephen, Stephen says, on a daft note, do you think that Scott Bain bought the old dugout from Celtic that he sat in as a memento for his time? I think that he's got it from Celtic and he's stuck it in his back garden, and it's like, it's fucking. Do you know how like old geezers have their seat that they sit on in the lounge in the living room, and you know, in the garden? That's the old man's seat. That's the old man's seat. Nobody sits there. That's the old man's seat. I think Bain will have the dugout in his garden, the seat, the canopy for the dugout, and he's like, that's my seat. Nobody sits there, bar me. Fucking sunbathing in his back garden. He's like, cigars. I ain't going to do work for Falkirk this week. Shit. Bain deserved every money he make. Yep, bring Ange in, but Ange did bring it to Celtic. Yeah, you know Ange brought it to Celtic. Yeah, he has a point on that score. Yeah, but he never done it at Celtic. We're talking about his time at Celtic. He never had the inverted left back before. You know, I don't care what he did at Liverpool. I don't care what he did at Liverpool. You know, anyway, we move on. Richard said, if we don't play the ball from the back out to wingers often enough. Yeah, we do. That's all we do. According to some people under Brendan, it's get the ball for the defenders, out to the wingers, then back to the defenders, out to the other wing, back to the defenders, and out to the other wing. So what are you talking about? We need more crosses getting into Adam. There's no point having a strong that can head on the ball if you don't put. Yeah, exactly. And I think why getting these two wingers in is going to be fantastic for Celtic. Baz, don't give you abuse, old guy. Hey, you don't abuse those old guys. I'm not abusing those old guys. Oh, Jesus God. Mute the mic. Celtic are an attacking team, not playing out from the back. What? What are you saying, Big Baz? No idea. Anyway, Stephen Johnson's house, Liam Devine's in the house. Anyway, let me see if there's any updated Celtic news. All the Arsenal bloggers are talking about player Arsenal just released has already found a new club. What on earth? Do these guys go about with their... This is from the justarsenal.com. Player Arsenal just released found a new club. That's the headline. Gotta have the news. Dun, dun, dun. Player Arsenal just released has found a new club already. Arsenal has confirmed that Kieran Tierney will no longer be part of the squad at the end of this month, and the left back has secured a return to familiar territory. The Scottish defender spent 6 years at the Emirates, having joined from Celtic in 2019, with the reputation of one of the most promising fullbacks in European football. Tierney was a standout performer at Celtic Park, with winning multiple trophies. He won 10, mate. 10, not multiple, 10. Established himself as a fan favourite at his time at the Scottish Premiership. At his time at the Scottish Premiership, he came through the ranks. His energetic displays and commitment earned a move to Arsenal, where he initially impressed under Emery and then Mikel Arteta. Tierney's role declined under Arteta, and then he was pushed out the team. That's it. With his contract expiring at the end of the 24-25 season, Arsenal made the decision not to extend his deal. They had an option to extend it for a season, but they didn't. The defender has now a return to Celtic confirmed, it says. The defender... Oh, Jesus. As reported by Mirror Football, Tierney has officially... As reported by Mirror Football. Oh my God. Jesus. Oh, Jesus God. Anyway. You got a laugh, huh? You got a laugh, if anything. Anyway, what time's it? We're on 20 minutes. Pat Bonner, new Man City boss. Is he? Shut up. Oh, wait. Liam Ange didn't know how to defend, to be honest. Yeah, let's hear. Secured the return back to paradise. Lanky has been killed from scoring. I know there's some nonsense getting written in the chat this morning. Anyway, that's been done and dusted for this morning. The breaking news today is obviously yesterday, Kieran Tierney completed his move to a return to Celtic. Why am I reading that nonsense? Who's that? He wears his number 63 jersey that he wore before leaving for Arsenal in the summer of 2019. He was number 63 as he got that number when he was academy player at Celtic. It was a number that he came to love at his time. Celtic are also in talks with trying to get Sondre Ostrid. Report saying that the 20-year-old left winger has also been a long-term target for Brendan Rodgers. They put a bid in for 4.6 million in January. That was rejected. They're now looking for a fee of in the region of 7 million. Celtic are also in personal terms talks with Michel-Ange Balikwisha, a player that they have been looking at for some time. They have begun personal terms talks, which means it is well down the line if they're talking personal terms with the player. Celtic will be hoping to get that one in, done and dusted before the transfer window opens next Wednesday. Yeah, the transfer window opens next Monday, the 16th. Not the 18th. The 16th. The transfer window does open back up again. It is currently closed for the World Club Cup Championship being played in America, an invite-only competition where you can win 100 million in prize money. Celtic return to training, I reckon, the Monday the 23rd. See the fact that we have a game of football to be played on Friday the 4th of July. Players will start trooping back that week. The first week back in training is all about the fitness tests and to see exactly if they've sat on their jacksie and done nothing for the best part of a month, or if they've been maintaining their fitness like they're told to do during the break, but at a slower pace. So they'll get all their stats from the previous season. They'll get their stats. The players that have been here for more than a year will get their stats from the beginning of last season. And that gives them the starting point going into pre-season. With that being said, a big shout out to Mad Mac, Mike Powers, John Keenan, Stephen Johnston, T1 Lanky, Michelle, Hank, and loads of other people in the chat this morning. That's me done and dusted. I don't think there's going to be a live tonight. No, there won't be. There won't be a live tonight. Have the night off tonight. There may be a live this afternoon, but I doubt it. If there's any more breaking news, we'll sure we'll jump on. If I had 100 million, I would get half to Celtic, said Jade. Wow. You'd get half to Celtic. There you go. And they couldn't spend it. They wouldn't be allowed to spend it. Anyway, need to get this channel up to 30k by the summer. It's not a chance. Not a chance. Have a fantastic day, Celtic fans, wherever you are, all around the world. Oh, somebody was asking what we're actually on for subs. And I can confirm. Just give me 2 seconds. The number that we're on for, it should be still on the thingy, innit? If I just do this, where am I doing? Where's the subs? There we go. 21,875 is the sub count. That is the sub count, 21,875. Anyway, have a fantastic day, Celtic fans, wherever you are, all around the world.